Good evening and welcome to tonight's installment of the news on Canal International. We're broadcasting live from Douala. Right ahead, Gladys Ambondibang with snapshots of tonight's top stories.
40 days after Easter, Christians across Cameroon joined believers worldwide today in commemorating the ascension of Jesus Christ into heaven as recounted in the Bible. This major Christian holiday is observed by various denominations, and from north to south, east to west, believers across the country spend the day reflecting, praying, and remembering Christ's ascension. And in Douala, the tragic death of 5-year-old Ofe remains unresolved 9 months after her body was found in an unfinished building. Originally reported as a drowning, an autopsy later revealed she had been sexually abused, and despite widespread public outcry and sustained pressure from civil society and legal advocates, no arrests have been made, leaving her family in deep anguish. Today marks exactly 9 months since her cruel death. And on our international page, a South African court has sentenced a mother to life in prison for selling her 6-year-old daughter to a brutal human trafficking network. This horrifying betrayal has shocked the nation, exposing the darkest depths of cruelty and igniting an urgent call for justice and child protection. That was a rundown of tonight's top stories. Stay for developments and more in a jiffy.
Welcome back, and our very sincere apologies for the late start. Today, of course, is Ascension Day, and so we set this edition in motion from the capital Yaoundé, and specifically at the St. Joseph Anglophone Parish at Vogada. Ate Bonaventure up next reports that Christians there marked Christ's return to heaven as a sign of hope and promise.
Jesus' ascension into heaven marks an end to his physical life on earth. The Christians of the St. Joseph Anglophone Parish, Vogada, celebrated the feast with a renewed hope for the manifestation of God's glory.
The feast tells us about the Lordship of Jesus. And secondly, the feast speaks to us about our deification or our sanctification, in the sense of we have become like God. The third point is Jesus Christ didn't just go silently. He told them, be together, because we sent you the Lord's promise, the advocate who will teach you the complete truth.
The homily drawn from the book of Matthew chapter 16 calls on faithful to live in a manner worthy of the calling they have received, with all humility and gentleness.
And what I learned today is to teach us about holiness. As you can see, many people are wearing white, though I'm not white, but many people are wearing white. It symbolizes holiness. It teaches us about holiness, to be holy in our spiritual life, and to live in peace and love with one another.
The Mass was marked by praise and thanksgiving and special prayers for peace and stability in Cameroon and amongst Christians.
And despite the rains that lashed the country's largest urban settlement, Douala, worshippers took time off to troop to the St. Peter and Paul's Cathedral of Paris at Bonadibong, clutching their umbrellas and clinging to faith as they gathered to mark Ascension Day. And amid solemn hymns and quiet prayers, the presence of little children gave the celebration a hopeful and distinct rhythm, as you tell us, Cynthia Latte.
Faithful Christians make their way to the St. Peter and Paul Parish in Douala, umbrellas in hand, at least for those who have them. They walk determinedly through the rain. Little ones are closely accompanied by their parents.
L'Ascension représente la montée de Jésus au ciel. Jésus a laissé l'Esprit Saint sur moi.
The Ascension Day feast here is marked by the significant presence of children. Most of them already have some understanding of what the special day signifies. They've come not just to attend Mass, but to participate in the prayers and spirit of the occasion.
Le Seigneur Tout-Puissant Jésus est monté aux cieux et il nous a lancé l'Esprit Saint pour nous sauver, pour nous bénir. J'ai appris ça de mon grand-père quand il nous racontait les histoires à la maison.
The little ones are experiencing Christ's ascension in their own unique way. Some cling to their grandfathers as they wait at the church entrance. Even if their pronunciation of ascension isn't quite right yet, the meaning isn't lost on them. Today echoes differently for them, reflecting the biblical lessons they've learned so far. 40 days after Easter, Ascension Day stands as a reminder of hope, renewal, and divine promise. The atmosphere here is solemn yet joyful, filled with rhythms, prayers, and heartfelt thanksgiving.
On to something else, but still in Douala, because residents of the Nouvelle neighborhood are gripped in fear following a violent robbery at a money transaction agency Wednesday. Eyewitnesses say 3 attackers rushed into the agency, stabbed workers on duty, and then took off with a large amount of money. Sheriff Asale actually reports now that one of the security guards on duty is being suspected as an accomplice.
Tension still hangs in the air in Newbell following a violent robbery that occurred May 28 morning at an express exchange agency located directly across from the 2nd District Police Station. Inhabitants say the audacity and brutality of the attack have left them shaken. Right now, I am gripped with fear of the unknown because I feel I am not in security. Bypassing the security guard with apparent ease, the assailants entered the building and launched a swift attack. Witnesses described the operation as quick and ruthless, with the attackers managing to seize significant sums of money from both customers and the agency's cash reserves before fleeing the scene. When I came to do my transactions, the security guard told me to wait outside. Little did I know he was performing his acts inside. When I opened the door to enter, the cashier shouted that I called the police. That was when he was nowhere to be found. In a shocking development, the agency's security guard is under suspicion of possible complicity in the robbery. His actions during the attack have raised serious concerns and are now under investigation by authorities. I feel surprised because the security guard who is supposed to guard the institution is instead at the helm of the aggression. Despite the agency being located directly opposite the police station, the robbers executed their plan without apparent resistance or intervention, a fact that has further deepened the community's sense of insecurity.
And on to this rather sad one, and that's because in August of last year, the body of a 5-year-old girl was discovered in the basement of her residence at Bona Prison right here in Douala. Initially, authorities suspected she had drowned, but it eventually emerged that she had been sexually abused, murdered, and then dumped in the swimming pool of the family home to stage an accident. Jim Murray now reports that 9 months on, the case remains unresolved.
A memorial of flowers and candles now marks the site where Ofi was found, serving as a somber reminder of the unanswered questions surrounding her death.
Since the beginning of this tragedy, nobody have been arrested. Even the Commissariat Central of the Police Judiciaire, they have no suspect of this situation, and our aim is that we keep mobilized that for the cause, and to give every need, every support to the person in charge of the investigations.
Her parents, this May 29, 2025, her parents, still grappling with the loss, expressed deep frustration over the lack of progress in the investigation. It's painful to know that the person responsible is still free.
the all lament.
Our family is devastated. We keep stand up. We keep mobilized for the fight, because we know this is a long fight.
Legal experts and human rights organizations continue to demand accountability, urging authorities to expedite the investigation.
The lawyers, we keep pushing, even if we don't talk on the media every day, but everybody is mobilized for the cause.
They continue to pray at the site and continue to ask questions why their daughter, and as the community mourns, the call for justice for Ofi grows louder, highlighting the need for swift and decisive action to bring closure to this heartbreaking case.
And so this is an example of some of those cases that leave observers completely dumbfounded. But what really happened on August 29, 2024, G. Maureen has been looking for some answers for us.
In Douala, Cameroon, the family of 5-year-old Ofi is still searching for justice 9 months after her tragic death. On August 29, 2024, Ofi's lifeless body was discovered in a flooded basement of a building in Bono-Priso. What was first reported as an accidental drowning turned out to be far more disturbing. An autopsy revealed she had been sexually assaulted, raped and sodomized, confirming her death was the result of a violent crime. Despite mounting public concern and advocacy from civil society groups, there have been no arrests. The investigation appears to have stalled, and the suspected perpetrator remains at large, sparking fear and frustration in the community. Ofi's grieving parents, with the support of legal advocates and NGOs, continue to demand justice. Through memorials and public appeals and media outreach, they are determined to keep their daughter's case in the national spotlight. The lack of progress raises serious questions about the efficiency of the local justice system as the family endures the pain of loss and unanswered questions. Their call is clear: justice for Ofi, so that her soul may finally rest in peace.
And let's hop over to the foot of Mount Cameroon in Boya in the southwest region, where Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute has begun a 4-day walking visit to the southwest region. His arrival in Boya a few hours ago told the population that he was the bearer of a message from President Biya, a message of peace and development. He's expected to hold talks with locals in both Boya and Kumba, as well as evaluate ongoing reconstruction projects in the northwest and southwest regions. Let's now listen briefly to the Prime Minister upon his arrival in Boya.
This region, oh yeah! This region, oh yeah! Where? I don't know about Tankuna plenty! Too much, Tankuna. I'll be so happy once more to come to my hometown, Boya. Thank you very much. I will be here with Una Sute Sunday.
And finally, well, that was Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute at the start of a 4-day walking visit to the southwest region. He was speaking there in Boya. Now let's head over beyond Cameroon and to South Africa, where a court has sentenced a woman to life in prison for selling her own 6-year-old daughter to human traffickers. Raquel Smith was found guilty of handing her child over to a trafficking ring, fully aware of the unimaginable abuse the child was going to endure. Judges called the case deeply frustrating and praised the investigators whose work brought the perpetrators to justice. The case has triggered a wave of outrage across South Africa, sparking renewed demands for tougher action against human trafficking and stronger child protection methods. And that's how we saw it on this edition of the news. Once again, all our apologies for the late start of this edition. Nonetheless, see you the same time, the same place tomorrow. Bye-bye.